The stars were like silver dust scattered across the endless dark. Commander Alex Rains sat in the observation deck of the Elysium, his eyes fixed on the glowing planet ahead. Its surface shimmered with vast oceans of teal blue and continents, covered in forests that shone faintly under the twin suns. The planet was called Vera Prime, home of the Viran people. Alex had been here before, during the war with the Targoth Raiders. He had fought beside the Varone army, saved a royal convoy from an ambush, even pulled a young boy out from under a collapsing building during the chaos. That boy was now standing behind him. "You are staring at my home," the boy said in his soft but clear voice. Alex turned, smiling. The boy's skin was smooth and faintly silver, his eyes a deep gold that caught the light. He wore a small ceremonial robe, far too formal for his age, and a small crest on his chest, marking him as Prince Kale of Vera. "I guess I am," Alex replied. "It's still beautiful. I almost forgot how bright it looks from orbit." Kale stepped closer, folding his small hands behind his back. He was only 12, yet he spoke with the poise of someone far older. His voice carried that calm, careful tone Alex had learned was common among royal children who were trained to think before they spoke. "You came when my mother sent for you," Kale said. "I am glad." Alex chuckled. "When a queen calls for help, I don't ignore it, but I hear the war is over. So, what's the mission this time? More diplomacy? Trade?" Kale's golden eyes studied him for a long moment. "It is something far more important," he said. Alex raised an eyebrow. "More important than peace talks?" "Yes," Kale said seriously. "It is about family." Alex blinked. That was not what he had expected. The princes wished they walked through the ship's quiet hallways until they reached the small guest lounge. The room was warm, lit by the soft glow of panels embedded in the walls. Kale sat on one side of a low table, motioning for Alex to sit across from him. For a moment, the boy seemed unsure how to begin. His golden eyes flickered with something. Alex couldn't quite read hope, maybe, or nervousness. Commander Kale began, "Do you know what my people say about humans?" Alex leaned back. "I've heard a few things. Some call us stubborn, others call us unpredictable." Kale shook his head. "They say humans have a fire in their hearts, that you fight for what you believe in, that you protect those you care about, even when it costs you everything." Alex tilted his head. "That's mostly true. But what? Does that have to do with family?" Kale's voice lowered. "'Cause I want you to be part of mine." Alex froze, blinking at the boy. "What?" Kale leaned forward, his hands on the table. "I want you to marry my mother." For a moment, Alex thought he'd misheard. "You want me to what?" "Marry her," Kale repeated without hesitation. "Help her lead the galaxy."
Alex
Laughed, partly out of surprise, partly because he wasn't sure if the prince was joking. "That's quite an offer, Kale, but I think you've got the wrong idea. Your mother's a queen. She doesn't need a human soldier barging into her throne room asking for her she wouldn't need to ask." Kale interrupted. "I am asking. I want a father." The words were simple, but the weight behind them was not. The reason Alex stopped laughing. The boy's golden eyes didn't waver. "My father died before I could remember his voice," Kale said quietly. "Since then, my mother has ruled alone. She is strong, but she is tired. The galaxy is changing, alliances are shifting. Threats are growing in the outer sectors. She needs a partner who can protect her and protect me." Alex rubbed the back of his neck. "Kale, I'm honored you'd even think of me. But you barely know me outside of that one mission years ago." "I know enough," Kale said firmly. "I know you risked your life to save strangers. I know you fought when you didn't have to. And I know you didn't take the reward my mother offered after the war. That means you're not here for power or gold. That's why you're the one." Alex sighed. "That's a lot to put on someone, being a leader, being a father. It's not just about being brave. It's about making the right choices, even when they hurt." Kale's voice softened. "That is why I'm asking you, Commander. I've met many warriors, many leaders, but only one who I believe would choose what is right over what is easy." The silence stretched between them. Alex could feel the sincerity in the boy's words. This wasn't some childish fantasy. It was a carefully thought out request from someone who understood more than most children should. Landing on Vera Prime, the Elysium descended through the golden clouds, cutting through the atmosphere until the vast capital of Vera spread below them. Towering spires of silver and crystal rose from the ground, connected by glowing bridges and floating platforms. Streams of airships moved between the structures like rivers of light as they landed. Alex saw citizens in flowing robes and shimmering armor waiting at the docking platform. The Queen herself stood at the center, her posture tall and regal. Her long silver hair shimmered under the twin suns, and her gown of deep blue moved like water in the breeze. Queen. Lyra's eyes met Alex's the moment he stepped off the ramp. They were the same golden hue as her son's, but older, sharper, and filled with the weight of years of leadership. "Commander Rains," she greeted. Her voice was warm, yet carried the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "It is good to see you again, Your Majesty," Alex said, bowing slightly. "Always an honor." Leora's gaze moved briefly to her son. "I trust you have explained why you insisted I summon him here?" "Not entirely," Kale said with a small smile. Alex cleared his throat. "About that, Kale has made a very unexpected proposal." Between duty and choice inside the Grand Palace, Alex was given a guest chamber overlooking the ocean. The city stretched out to the horizon, ships moving like specks against the glowing waves. He couldn't shake Kale's words from his mind. It wasn't just the request, it was the responsibility behind it. Being a soldier was one thing. Being part of a royal family in charge of an interstellar alliance, that was something else entirely. Later that evening, Lyra invited Alex to join her for a private dinner in the High Garden. The space was open to the sky, surrounded by flowering vines and glowing crystal lanterns. Kale sat at one end of the table, quietly eating, while the Queen studied Alex. "My son tells me he wishes for you to become his father," she said plainly. Alex coughed into his drink. Yes, he was very clear about that. Lyra's eyes softened for a brief moment. Kale has grown up surrounded by politics and duty. He has learned to see people for who they are, not just their titles. If he believes you are worthy of such a role, I will not dismiss it lightly. "I'm not sure worthy is the word," Alex admitted. "I'm just a soldier. I've seen too much war." "I'm not sure I belong in a palace." "Perhaps not," Lyra said. "But sometimes the people who belong most in a place are the ones who never sought it." Kale set down his fork and looked between them. "I don't need a father who knows how to sit on a throne," he said. "I need one who knows how to protect it, Tandas." The first step that night, Alex stood on the palace balcony, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the galaxy's borders were shifting, threats were forming. And here, in this shining city, a boy had asked him to step into a role far bigger than he'd ever imagined. Kale joined him, silent for a moment before speaking. "I know it's a lot to ask, but I don't think anyone else could do it." Alex glanced at him. "You're sure about that?" Kale nodded. "Completely." Alex exhaled slowly. "And maybe I should at least see what it would mean before I say no." The boy's face lit up with a smile, rare, unguarded expression. "Then tomorrow, I will show you." Alex had no idea what show you meant, but he had a feeling it was going to be far from boring. And so, without realizing it, he had taken the first step toward a choice that could change the fate of the galaxy. The sun had barely risen over Vera Prime when Alex found himself standing in the royal courtyard. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of salt from the nearby ocean. Marble walkways stretched through lush gardens, and tall crystal towers glistened. In the morning light, Kale was already there, wearing a travel cloak over his ceremonial robe. His golden eyes were bright with purpose. "Today," Kale announced, "I will show you why my mother needs you and why the galaxy does too." Alex raised an eyebrow. "I thought this was just a tour of your planet." "It is not a tour," Kale said seriously. "It is a test," Alex sighed. "Figures you Varans don't waste time, do you?" The journey begins. They left the palace. In a sleek airship, gliding high above the city's spires, the streets below bustled with traders, citizens, guards in polished armor. Kale sat across from Alex, holding a small datapad. Our first stop is the assembly hall, he said. You will see how fragile our alliances can be. The assembly hall stood at the heart of the capital, a massive circular building surrounded by reflecting pools. Inside, dozens of alien representatives were already gathered. The chamber buzzed with voices in many languages. Queen Lyara was at the center, her presence commanding quiet as soon as she spoke. Today, she said, we discussed the trade routes along the outer rim. A disagreement quickly broke out. Between two factions, the Merchant Guild of Vera and the traders from the aquatic world of Thaler. The Thalorians accused the guild of overtaxing their shipments. The guild claimed the Thalorians were smuggling illegal goods. Alex leaned toward Kale. This is more like a courtroom than a council. Watch closely, Kale whispered. See how quickly trust can vanish? The first test, diplomacy under fire, when the argument escalated into shouting. Queen Lyara called for calm, but neither side was willing to back down. That's when Kale leaned toward his mother and whispered something. She nodded. Turned to Alex. Commander Rains, she said aloud, MU once negotiated a ceasefire between warring colonies during the Targath War. Perhaps your voice would be of value here. Alex was caught off guard. Me. The Queen's expression was unreadable. You are a neutral party. Speak. Alex stepped into the center of the chamber. He addressed both sides, listening to each complaint carefully before speaking. He suggested a temporary agreement. The guild would lower taxes for the next 3 months, while the Thalorians opened their shipments for inspection by an independent committee. It wasn't perfect, but it was fair. Slowly, the shouting died down. Both factions agreed to try it. When Alex stepped back, Kale's eyes were shining. Pass the first test, the boy whispered. Alex chuckled. That wasn't a test. That was politics. Exactly, Kale said. Second stop, the edge of safety. Their next destination was far from the safety of the capital. The airship took them to a launch pad where a small star cruiser awaited. As they boarded, Alex noticed several armed Varen guards joining them. Where are we going now? Alex asked. To the drift sector, Kale replied. It is on the edge of our territory. Pirates and raiders often try to cross into our space there. Hours later, the star cruiser emerged from hyperspace into a dark region filled with asteroid clusters. A small mining station floated among the rocks, its lights flickering. The moment they approached, a distress call came through. Varen cruiser, we are under attack. 2 hostile ships requesting immediate assistance. The guards moved quickly, but Kale looked directly at Alex. This is your second test. The second test, action under pressure. The pirates? Ships were circling the mining station, firing warning shots. They hadn't yet hit anything vital, but it was only a matter of time. Alex stepped into the command chair. Helm, bring us between the station and the pirates. Shields up. The guards obeyed without question, and Alex opened a channel. This is Commander Rains of the Varen Alliance. You are violating sovereign territory. Stand down and retreat. The pirates responded with more gunfire. Alex gritted his teeth. Target their weapons systems disabled. Don't destroy. Precise blasts lit up the darkness, crippling the pirates' guns without damaging their engines. With no way to fight, the pirates fled. The station's crew sent their thanks. The cruiser resumed its journey. Kale leaned toward Alex, his voice calm but impressed. You could have destroyed them. Many would have. But you didn't. Winning isn't always about whose. Left standing, Alex said. Kale nodded. You understand more than most warriors I've met. Third stop. The hidden struggle, their final stop for the day, was a place Alex hadn't expected. The farming moon of Ressa. A quiet world covered in green plains and rivers. The Varen Alliance relied on its crops to feed much of the outer rim. As they landed, Kale explained. This place is peaceful, but its people are struggling. Some leaders ignore small problems until they grow too large to control. They were met by the moon's governor, a weary man with soil-stained hands. He explained that their main irrigation system had been damaged by storms, and they lacked the funds to repair it. If nothing was done, half the crops would fail within months. Kale watched silently as Alex inspected the irrigation machinery, asked questions, and listened to the workers' concerns. The third test, choosing what matters, Alex turned to the governor. If we send a repair team from Vera, could you keep the crops alive until next season? Yes, the governor said. But the council will say there are more urgent matters elsewhere. Not if I speak to them, Alex said. True to his word, Alex called the assembly from the moon's small communications center. He explained that protecting food supply lines was as important as protecting ships or borders. After some debate, the council approved emergency aid. When Alex left the building, Kale was waiting with a small smile. Most leaders think of battles and borders. You think of people first. Alex shrugged. Soldiers fight for people, not just for flags. Kale didn't reply. But the admiration in his eyes was clear. The bond grows by the time they return to Vera Prime. The twin suns were setting. The city was bathed in warm gold, and the palace towers glimmered like fire. As they walked through the courtyard, Kale finally broke the silence. You passed all 3 tests today? Alex chuckled. Was there a scorecard I didn't see? Not a scorecard, Kale said. True. I wanted to see if you would act like a soldier or a ruler. You acted like both on, like something more. Alex stopped. And what's that? Kale looked up at him, serious as ever, like a father would. The words hit Alex harder than he expected. He'd led men into battle, negotiated truces, and faced death without flinching. But this boy's quiet confidence in him, that was something else. The Queen's question that evening. Queen Lyara summoned Alex to her private study. The room was lined with books and star charts, air filled with the faint scent of flowers from the open balcony. My son tells me. You spent the day together, Lyara said. That's one way to put it, Alex replied. Another way is that he spent the day testing me. Lyara's lips curved slightly. And did you pass? I guess so. He seems convinced I'm the answer to everything. Lyara's gaze softened. Kale rarely trusts Isley. If he does, it means he has seen something others have missed.
Alex
Hesitated. And you? Do you think I belong here? Lyara was silent for a long moment before answering. Belonging is not given, it is proven. Perhaps you have taken the first steps. We shall see. The hint of storms ahead later, Alex stood, alone on the balcony, looking out at the star-filled night. Somewhere out there, threats were waiting pirates, rival empires, and dangers he didn't yet know. He thought about the boy who had tested him today. It's a queen who carried the weight of a galaxy on her shoulders, and the strange possibility that he might become part of their world. Behind him, Kale's voice broke the quiet. Tomorrow, there is one more thing I want to show you. Alex turned. Another test? Not exactly, Kale said. But it will decide if you truly belong. Here. And with that, the boy left, leaving Alex with the uneasy feeling that tomorrow would change everything again. The palace bells rang at dawn, their deep chimes echoing over the city. Alex awoke in his guest chamber to the sight of Vera Prime's twin suns just touching the horizon. The sky was a soft silver blue, and the ocean below shimmered like a living jewel. He dressed quickly, half expecting another one of Kale's surprise tests. But when he stepped into the hallway, the prince was already waiting. This time, Kale wore no ceremonial robe, just a light travel tunic and boots. His golden eyes looked serious. Today, Kale said, you face the real trials. Alex raised an eyebrow. Real trials? What have the last 2 days been, warm-ups? Kale almost smiled. Those were to see if you could think like a leader. Today's to see if you can lead when the stakes are higher. The council's challenged, they went to the Grand Council chamber, where Queen Lyara sat with 12 high ministers. The air was heavy with formality. One of the ministers, a tall Varan with emerald-green markings on his skin, stepped forward. Commander Rains, the prince believes you worthy to stand beside our queen. We are less certain. Another minister spoke, his tone sharp. If you wish to serve this realm and this family, you must prove it through 3 trials. Succeed, and the council will not oppose you. Leora's gaze was calm, but her voice held weight. These trials are not games, Commander. They are designed to test courage, wisdom, and heart. Fail one, and the council will decide the matter is closed. Alex glanced at Kale. The boy simply nodded as if to say, I believe you can do it. All right, Alex said, folding his arms. What's the first trial? Trial 1, the broken piece. The first trial took place in the Corin Nebula. 2 jumps away from Vera Prime. A fragile truce had been signed between the Varan Alliance and the Zarn Coalition. Tensions were flaring again. 2 Zarn patrol ships had accused a Varan freighter of entering restricted space. The freighter crew swore they'd followed the agreed route. Both sides had sent warships, and they were now in a standoff, their weapons locked. The Council's orders were simple: defuse the situation without firing a single shot. As Alex's shuttle approached, he saw the warships facing each other like predators ready to strike. The comms were filled with angry voices on commanders demanding surrender. Varan captains threatening retaliation. Alex opened a channel to both sides at once. This is Commander Rains, envoy of the Varan Alliance. I'm here to end this. Without bloodshed, the Zarn commander snarled. Your freighter violated our borders. Alex kept his tone even, proposed a neutral inspection. If your claim is true, the freighter will return to Varan space immediately. If not, the Zarn Coalition will grant safe passage. The Varan captain bristled. We will not allow our ship to be searched by them. Not by them, Alex. Interrupted by me alone. There was silence, then grudging agreement. Hours later, after careful scanning and questioning the freighter crew, Alex presented his findings. The freighter had been thrown off course by a gravitational eddy. Not by intent, the Zarn commander reluctantly stood down. The Varan captain followed. The warships disengaged. As the tension faded, Kale's voice came through Alex's earpiece. First trial passed. Trial 2, the Dark Rescue. The second trial came faster than Alex expected. On the way back from the nebula, a distress call reached them. A small research station in the Varos expanse had lost contact after an unknown explosion. The Council ordered Alex to lead the rescue. When they arrived, the station was drifting in silence. Its outer hull was scorched, and several compartments were without power. Alex led a team inside. The air smelled faintly of smoke and burned circuitry. In the flickering light, they found injured scientists, Varans, and humans trapped behind sealed bulkheads. Kale had joined the rescue mission, insisting he could help. Alex didn't like the idea of the boy being in danger. But the prince was stubborn. They split into 2 teams. Alex's group to restore power, Kale's to assist the medics. While repairing the station's main console, Alex heard a loud creak. Above, he looked up just in time to see a section of the ceiling breaking loose. He shoved a nearby scientist out of the way as the metal beam came crashing down, pinning Alex's leg. Pain shot up his side, but he waved off help. Get the power back online now. Minutes later, the lights returned, air circulation restarted, and the trapped survivors were freed. Only when the last scientist was safe did Alex allow himself to be helped. Back aboard their ship, Kale looked at him with both admiration and worry. You could have ordered someone else to go in? Alex shrugged. Leaders go where they're needed most, not where it's safest. Trial 3. The final trial, was the most difficult. Not because of danger, but because of what it asked. The Council summoned Alex to a remote moon where a crisis had erupted. 2 small settlements, one of another alien race called the Rel, had been struck by a severe drought. Only 1 shipment of emergency water supplies could arrive before the next storm season. The Council's rule: choose which settlement receives it. Alex frowned. Why can't we split it? It is not enough, one minister said. Half measures will save neither side. Alex thought about the people he'd met in both settlements earlier, that day farmers, children, elderly citizens, both groups had equal need. Choosing one meant condemning the other to suffer. He sat in silence for a long time before speaking. Then I'm breaking the rule. The ministers looked shocked. I'll take the shipment on my own ship, Alex said. I'll cut power, strip extra weight, and push the engines beyond standard limit to reach both settlements. If I fail, you can remove me from the trials. But I won't choose who lives and who suffers. Lyra's eyes narrowed, but there was a faint spark in them. Do it. A race against time, the journey was brutal. Alex piloted the ship himself, fighting turbulence and radiation bursts in the storm belts. The hull shuddered, alarms blared. More than once it seemed the engines would give out. They reached the first settlement and delivered half the water. Without waiting, Alex turned the ship toward the second. The storms worsened, battering them from all sides. By the time they reached the rail settlement, ship's systems were failing, and Alex's hands ached from holding the controls steady. But the water was delivered. Both communities would survive the season. When they returned to Vera Prime, the council chamber was silent as Alex stepped in. "You broke the trial's rule," one minister said coldly. "I did," Alex replied, "and I'd do it again." Another minister spoke quietly. "You also saved twice as many lives as expected." The council's verdict after a long private discussion. The council called Alex back in. "The trials are complete," the lead minister said. "Though you did not follow every instruction, you proved your courage, wisdom, and heart. The council will not oppose your standing beside the queen should she wish it." Alex glanced at Lyara. She said nothing, but her gaze was steady. Kale, standing nearby, looked like he was holding back a grin. A quiet moment that night, Alex walked through the palace gardens, the air cool and filled with the scent of glowing flowers. Kale joined him, as he often did. "You didn't have to risk so much for those trials," the boy said. "Yeah," Alex said. "But if I'm going to be the person you think I am, then I kind of did." Kale's golden eyes met his. "You are exactly the person I thought you were." They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled over the ocean. Alex had the feeling the real storms, the political kind, were still ahead. Alex stood in the high-vaulted council chamber of the royal palace. The walls were made of white crystal, glowing faintly with soft blue light. The air carried a quiet hum, the sound of the palace's ancient energy systems at work. It had been several days since he passed the trials, days filled with meetings, galactic news coverage, and curious alien ambassadors asking him endless questions. The galaxy was buzzing with the idea that a human might become co-leader alongside Queen Lyara. Some saw it as a brilliant chance for unity. Others whispered their doubts. But Alex wasn't thinking about politics in that moment. He was thinking about Kale's hopeful eyes, the boy's unwavering belief that Alex could be the father he had wished for. The private audience, the great doors opened, and Alex stepped into the Queen's private council room. It was much smaller than the grand throne hall, with only a round table in the center. Surrounded by tall windows that overlooked the silver oceans of their world, Queen Lyara stood by one of the windows, her hands resting lightly on the railing. Her royal robe shimmered in tones of emerald and gold. Her posture was calm, but Alex could sense she was watching him closely, measuring every step. "Commander Alex," she greeted, her voice as smooth as flowing water. "You have passed the trials. My son tells me you've earned not only his trust, but his admiration." Alex gave a small smile. "Kale is remarkable. He's brave, curious, and wise beyond his years. I can see why you're proud of him." She inclined her head slightly. "He believes you should stand by my side as partner and leader." "I must admit, I did not expect him to make such a request." Alex stepped forward, stopping a respectful distance away. "To your Majesty, I didn't expect it either. When I first met Kale, I thought he was just a boy who needed help during a crisis. But the more I've learned, the more I've realized, he's not just thinking of himself. He's thinking of his people, of the galaxy, the weight of responsibility." Queen turned fully toward him now, her eyes steady. "And you? Are you thinking of him more of the galaxy?" Alex took a deep breath. "Both. I've been a soldier, a commander, and a diplomat. I've fought battles to protect my own people. But this is more than just protection. It's building a future. A future where humans and your kind lead together, where alliances aren't just written on paper, but built through trust." Her expression didn't change, but her voice softened slightly. "Do you understand what you're offering, Alex? This is not a simple marriage. It is a binding of two worlds. Our laws will merge in many ways. Every decision you make will be watched by billions." "I do understand," he said firmly. "I'm not here for a crown, or for power. I'm here because your people need stability, and because Kale deserves a father who will stand by him not just in the palace, but in the hard moments when everything feels uncertain. The queen's doubt Solera paced slowly, her long robe sweeping the floor. There are those in my council who will oppose you. They will say a human cannot understand our traditions, our history, our politics. They will test you at every turn. Then, let them test me, Alex replied. I'm not afraid of proving myself. I've been the outsider before. I've earned trust before. I'll do it again. The queen stopped pacing, her gaze intense. Kale wants a father. That is clear. But what? Do you want, Alex? There was a pause before he answered. I want to build something worth leaving behind. I want to see Kale grow into a leader who can unite the galaxy. I want to make sure that when he looks back, he knows we gave him and everyone else the best chance at peace. A conversation by the ocean Liara led him out onto the balcony. The silver waves stretched endlessly beneath the twin moons, shimmering under the soft light. My husband died, she said quietly. I swore I would never bind myself to another. My duty was to my people and to my son. But Kale, he sees something in you, something I am only beginning to see for myself. Alex stood beside her, the sea breeze cool against his face. You don't have to decide now. But I need you to know, I'm not here to take your place or your power. I'm here to stand with you. Equal, not above. Partner, not ruler. Long moment, they both stared at the ocean. Finally, she turned to him. If we were to join in this partnership, there would be a ceremony before the Grand Council. It would mean the merging of our banners. It would mean you take an oath. To defend not just me and Kale, but the galaxy's peace. Alex nodded. I'll take that oath. Council reactions the next day. The Queen called a meeting of her closest advisors in the smaller council chamber. Alex stood beside her as Kale sat proudly to one side. We are here to discuss a matter of great importance, Liara began. Commander, Alex of Earth has been offered the position of my partner in leadership. The room erupted into murmurs. Several alien council members exchanged sharp looks. One elder rose to speak. With respect, Majesty, a human leader is unprecedented. We cannot be certain his loyalty will be to us, another advisor added. Our enemies will see this as a weakness, will think we rely on outsiders to rule. Alex stepped forward. Respect. I am not here to replace your traditions or your strength. I am here to strengthen them. When your fleets fought alone, you risked defeat. But when human ships joined your defense, we won together. This alliance is no different. Together, we are stronger. Some advisors still looked unconvinced, but Kale's smile never faded. The boy's confidence was like a quiet anchor, steady in the storm of politics. The Queen's decision that evening, Liara requested Alex meet her in the palace gardens. Lanterns floated in the air like tiny suns, casting golden light over the flowers. I have thought on this long and carefully, she said. You are right together. Our worlds can be stronger. Kale is right too. You have the heart of a leader who serves, not rules. She paused, her eyes searching his face. I will. Accept this partnership, Alex. Not because my son asks it, but because I believe in it. Alex felt something warm and heavy in his chest, a mix of relief, gratitude, and a sense of the road ahead. Then I promise you, Liara, I will protect this alliance with everything I have. Kale's joy when Kale heard the news, he nearly leapt into Alex's arms. I knew it. I knew you'd agree. Now we can be a family and lead the galaxy. Alex laughed, kneeling down so they were eye to eye. We still have work ahead, Kale. This is just the beginning. But now, Kale said with a grin, we're facing it together. The ceremony announcement, the news spread quickly across the galaxy. Messages poured in from distant worlds, some supportive, some skeptical. The royal scribes began preparations for the Grand Council ceremony that would unite their banners. On the night before the announcement went public, Alex stood on the balcony again, looking out over the silver sea. Liara joined him quietly. Are you ready for what comes next? She asked. Alex looked at her, then at the endless horizon. ready as I'll ever be. Somewhere beyond those waves, the galaxy waited to see if this human-alien partnership could hold. Alex intended to make sure it did. The Grand Council Chamber of the Galactic Alliance was the largest room Jason had ever seen. Its high ceiling shimmered with starlight from the transparent dome above, and the air was filled with a faint hum of energy. Delegates from hundreds of worlds sat in curved tiers around the center stage, where Queen Serenia, Princess Leora, and Jason now stood. Jason's heart beat faster than it ever had during battle. He had faced alien warships, hostile planets, and even near-death situations. But standing here in front of so many leaders from across the galaxy made his legs feel like lead. The Queen's voice rang out, clear and strong. Honored members of the Alliance, today, we meet to decide not only the future of my people, but the future of peace in our galaxy. A time of change has come, and with it, a choice. The chamber fell silent. Jason glanced at Leora, who gave him a small, encouraging nod. The princess's eyes held that same determined sparkle she had the first day she told him, "I wished for a father." It gave him strength. The proposal, the Queen raised her hand, and a holographic image appeared above the center stage. It showed the galaxy-bright spirals of stars split into zones of influence. The Alliance's territory shimmered in blue, while regions still in conflict were marked in red. "We stand at the edge of war," Serenia said. "But we have a way forward, one that will unite not just our military strength, but our cultures, our hopes, and our futures." The room buzzed with quiet voices, but Serenia continued. "For centuries, our throne has been guided by a royal partner chosen for leadership, wisdom, and courage. My late husband fulfilled that role with honor. But we now face a challenge that demands more than tradition. We must show that the galaxy can be led not by a single race, but by unity itself." She gestured toward Jason. This human stood with my people when others turned away, saved my daughter when it meant risking his life. And he has proven his loyalty not for reward, but because he believes in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Jason swallowed hard as countless alien eyes turned to him. Some were curious, some doubtful, and others even suspicious. "Queen." Serenia's voice grew soft, but it carried a strange warmth. "Therefore, I propose that Jason Colaverth become my chosen partner, not just as my consort, but as co-leader of this alliance. Together, we will guide our people into an age where every world, every race has a voice." The reaction. Chamber erupted. Some delegates cheered, others shouted in protest. A tall, insect-like ambassador clicked his mandibles angrily. "A human? They have no place on the royal seat." A massive, scaled warrior growled from the far tier. "This is foolish sentiment. Leadership is not a place for experiments." But then an avian delegate, her feathers shimmering, spoke calmly. "And yet what better symbol of unity than one born outside our world? If peace is what we seek, let us not fear new bonds." Jason clenched his fists. He wasn't here to impress them. He was here because of a promise to protect Leora, to stand by Serenia, and to try to build something better. The Queen looked at him. "Jason, will you speak?" Jason's speech. Jason took a deep breath and stepped forward. The microphone adjusted to his height, and his voice echoed across the chamber. "I know I'm not from here," he began. "I'm not royalty. I'm not even from your part of space. I'm just a soldier from a small planet you've probably never cared about. But I've fought alongside your people. I've seen the cost of war, and I've seen what happens when we stand together." He scanned the room, meeting as many eyes as he could. "When Leora asked me to be part of her family, I thought it was just about her and the Queen. But now it's about all of you. This galaxy is like her. It needs someone who believes in it, someone who won't walk away when things get hard." His voice steadied, stronger now. "I'm not here to take anyone's place. I'm here to fight for everyone's place. If you'll have me, I'll do whatever it takes to make sure this galaxy isn't just Ladits cared for." There was silence for a long moment. Then, slowly, applause began. First from the avian delegate, then others until half the chamber joined in. The rest remained skeptical. But the shift was clear. A vote for the future. The High Chancellor of the Alliance stepped forward. By law, a vote must be cast. All in favor of recognizing Jason Cole as royal partner and co-leader, raise your hand. Claws and appendages of many kinds lifted into the air. Not all but enough. The Chancellor's voice carried finality. The proposal passes. Jason let out the breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Leora grinned from ear to ear, and Saranya gave him a look that was both regal and quietly relieved. The first day as family later, in the palace gardens, Jason walked beside Leora and Saranya. The air was warm, filled with the scent of alien flowers. Ran ahead to chase a floating light creature, laughing as it darted away. "See, Jason? I told you you'd be part of our family one day," she called back. Jason smiled. "Yeah, you did." Saranya slowed her pace so she could walk beside him. "You handled yourself well in there. I know this will not be easy. Some will test you. Some will try to push you aside." Jason nodded. "I'm used to that, but I'm not going anywhere." The Queen studied him for a moment, then spoke with quiet sincerity. "My daughter needed a father. I needed a partner. But, perhaps, Galaxy needed this as much as we did." The coronation the following day, the palace was filled with delegates, soldiers, and citizens from across the galaxy. The coronation ceremony was unlike anything Jason had imagined. Robes, woven with living light, a crown of stardust, and a pledge spoken in dozens of languages. When it was over, Jason stood beside Saranya on the balcony, overlooking the capital city. The crowd below roared in celebration. Leora stood between them, holding both their hands. Jason leaned down slightly toward her. "So, how'd I do?" "You did perfect," Leora whispered back. "Now you just have to help lead the galaxy." He chuckled. "An easy job, right?" A new beginning that night. Jason looked out at the stars from his new quarters. Somewhere out there, war was still brewing. Somewhere, people still needed help. But here, on this world, with this family, he felt something he hadn't in years. Hope. He knew there would be challenges ahead. There would be battles, arguments, and difficult choices. Time, he wouldn't be facing them alone. Saranya stepped onto the balcony beside him, her gown catching the starlight. "Are you ready for what comes next?" she asked. Jason glanced at her, then at the stars. "Yeah, because now, it's not just about surviving. It's about building something worth surviving for." Leora's voice rang from inside. "Hey, Mom, Dad, come see the lights. They're starting." Jason and Saranya exchanged a small smile before heading inside, where the glow of celebration filled the palace. And as the galaxy outside spun on in its endless dance, Jason knew his life had changed forever. Not just for himself, not just for this family, but for the billions who now looked to them for guidance.